Hello, and welcome back to Of the People. I am Robert Chernin with my lovely co-host, Ericka Redic.
Hello, Robert.
Hello, Ericka.
Hello.
Jay, throw up Thursday the Republican. So let's talk about this Iran deal. So there was an Iran deal, and just everybody to frame the reference, and I know people's memories are short, but don't forget it was President Obama during the, as Jay the Republican says, the Obama-Biden administration. And I would argue that we're either in the Biden-Obama administration or we're really just back in the Obama administration. But during the height of the Obama years, in the middle of the night, a photographer saw, I think we had like $12 billion in cash that was rolled onto a plane in the middle of the night to pay off the Iranians to accept the Iran nuclear deal, right? It was like, it was pishkesh, right? It was payola. It was basically bribing them. So now you have President Biden or Anthony or Anton or whatever his name is, Blinken, sort of on the winking, blinking, and nod, Secretary of State guy, right? I mean, what else? How else can you explain it? So now they're giving, and the way it's being billed in the press is we were giving $6 billion to free up 5 Americans. And on the surface of it, and I want to get to the whole 9/11 thing in a second in terms of its coordination, but on the surface of it, even that is not truthful. Because if you read the fine print, we are actually getting 5 American prisoners freed. In exchange, we are giving them 5 Iranian prisoners that are being held by us.
Wow.
No one sees that in the press. So what's really going on is there is a prisoner swap. Oh, and by the way, to sweeten the deal, we're giving you $6 billion. I know it's your own money that was frozen, and you're only going to use it for humanitarian purposes, which is a
baloney.
Right? As we said, the Ayatollah has already come out and said, the hell with that. We're going to use this for whatever we want. So I think Jay was right. But it begs the question. How far in the tank is the media that they buy the story that the administration gives them, which is, oh, we're giving $6 billion of their own money only to be used for humanitarian aid for 5 American prisoners, right? And again, is an American prisoner worth $1 billion or $1 billion, $1.2 billion each? Probably, right? If it was my family or yours. But it's not the whole story. You never get the whole story. We're releasing 5 prisoners of theirs. They're releasing 5 prisoners of ours. And oh, by the way, here's $6 billion. Yeah.
Well, I think that just...
Now, did you read that anywhere?
No, and that's...
Or am I the only one who sees this?
That's what I think, it's one of the reasons why the American people do not trust the media. We know, and we've seen over the years, that it's basically just another wing of the Democratic Party. It's basically...
Well, it is now. It is now.
I mean, It's essentially like the PR wing of the Democratic Party. So it doesn't surprise me at all, but no, I did not hear about it. And I think it just goes to actually show the weakness of the Biden administration. If our government...
Wait a minute. I have to cut you off. It doesn't show the weakness, Ericka. It shows their intent. This was not done from a position of weakness. It wasn't even, I would argue, done from a position of stupidity. Like, we've had these discussions and arguments, you and I, where, oh, they're stupid. Oh, no. Never underestimate your enemy. They are not stupid. The Biden administration is doing this with intent. My question to you is, and I know we're sort of we're winging this. If they're doing it with intent, which I would bet you all the money in the world and all the tea in China, why are they doing it with intent? What's the purpose?
Well, and that's the question. It's clearly an unequal exchange, and so if your goal, and I believe that it is to destabilize the American position around the globe, then this makes a lot of sense. Give money to our enemies, show weakness in that you are willing to take less in a negotiation than you get. Right? Because,
well, that's for sure.
I mean, that's for sure. That's what when I say weakness, that's what I mean is, okay, you negotiated a crappy deal. They got way more than we got out of it. So not only are you arming and equipping one of our greatest enemies and the enemy of our ally, Israel, but you are demonstrating massive weakness. So
and again, I have to disagree. I don't think they're demonstrating weakness. I think they're demonstrating intent. And I want to go back to what Jay the Republican
they can be.
said.
They're not mutually exclusive, right? So,
Yeah, but wait a minute.
Okay.
Wait a minute. They're not mutually exclusive. I think this was done specifically to benefit China, whose economy is in shambles right now. Right. So to me, it's the China card. Like the two big cards in the Biden administration are the Ukraine card, right, and the China card. Right. You can argue the Russia, the mayor's daughter of Moscow. That's a different conversation. But there's no question because we're always focusing now on Burisma and Ukraine and the war, and we're going to talk about that too later in the show. But let's not forget the paramount connection between the Chinese Communist Party, Hunter Biden, and the big guy, right? Mm-hmm. So to me, and there is this axis of evil, China, Iran, South Korea, and by the way, I'm sorry, North Korea. Take it back to the South Koreans. The North Korean Kim Jong-un is going to Moscow as we speak.
Yep.
To meet with Vladimir Putin.
Skipped the G20 summit. Right. Okay, so China skipped the G20 summit in order to go to Russia.
But does this make sense to you? I mean, tell me, punch holes in my theory. I think China is the driver of this. The money, right? The money. Look, the truth is I don't think Iran would have released any prisoners for their own people because Iran does not value their own people's lives like we do. So you needed the money anyway. But the ayuch, right? The double kill here for them is they get the PR victory and they get to curry favor with their masters in China, who to me are driving this deal because of the leverage they have on the Biden administration and specifically the Biden crime family. Tell me where I'm wrong.
I would not be surprised at all. I feel like that is a very reasonable conclusion to come to. When we see that these countries are, colluding, working together, when we know that the Chinese government is, that Biden is in the pocket of China and Ukraine and all of the corruption and the money that's flowing, right? How many billions of dollars is it that's now missing that we've sent to Ukraine?
It's not missing. Someone knows where it is. We just don't know where it is.
And so it's, it almost, again, it feels like we're basically just funding our enemies, funding corruption, and it all can be tied back to the Biden family, the Biden crime family.
Well, you know what? If you're going to fund corruption, I think we have enough of a full-time job funding corruption at home. We don't have to extend it and fund corruption abroad, right? And I'm not sure that first of all, Joe Biden is too big to fit in China's pocket. But they certainly have, a gun to the back of his head. And as we've talked about all along, I don't think that he will be the nominee. By the way, this week, Speaker of the House McCarthy announced an inquiry. They're launching a formal impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden and the Biden crime family. Although, folks, the Biden crime family is my term. It's not Speaker McCarthy's term. But they did launch a formal inquiry, which is the first step in the process. But here's the thing. We talk about the Democrats and we talk about the progressives or the woke, whatever you want to call them. They're not stupid. There are two immutable laws in international politics, right? Okay. The first one is realpolitik with capital R, small k, and it basically says that an enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? We saw that in World War II. We were aligned with Soviet Union until our interests didn't align, and then we went to war with them. Essentially, it was the Cold War. Right? That principle, right? The common interest that Iran and China and North Korea and Russia have is anti-American. And of those four, the preeminent power is China. So that's the first law, right? An enemy of my enemy is my friend. The second law is what I call Pavlov's law or Pavlov's dog, right? And we broke that law too, because if you give Iran, for whatever reason, $6 billion, you're incentivizing more bad behavior. If you had said to Iran, look, we'll release your 5 prisoners, you release ours, okay.
Yep.
That's different. But because they function differently, all we are doing is encourage. Look, this is the law of the street, right? International politics isn't much different. It's how do you deal with a bully? If you incentivize the bully and you say, oh, by the way, we're going to your bad behavior, here's $6 billion.
Yep.
Do you think they're not going to do it again and take more prisoners?
Well, and look
it's got $6 billion.
And look at China is now further aggressing on Taiwan at a time when our Navy it has been when our Navy is struggling to respond with the veracity that it used to, with like lack of recruitment and the cuts in training. So at a time when we need our Navy to be at its peak, the Biden administration has weakened it. China is aggressing on Taiwan. Then we give $6 billion to
because
Iran, who is their friend. And then again, you just look at it and you go, this can only be an intentional weakening of the United States position around the world. And I'm in 100% agreement with you, Robert.
I'm not sure if they're intentionally weakening America or they just don't care because their interests lie elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think they sit around the kitchen table, or in this case, the situation room, and go, and they rub their hands and they go, oh, how can we weaken America more? I don't think it's that transparent. I think that they buy into the international world order. They think America's day on, as the preeminent superpower are numbered and over. I think everything, if you see, look, when you looked at the Obama administration and you understood that he was an anti-colonialist, so that America was a bad country, it was founded on racism, original sin, America did bad things around the world as a colonial power. So everything he did viewed America as a colonial oppressing or oppressor power, right?
Yeah.
Everything in the Biden administration takes them on the same thing, which is they think America is a bad country. I don't think they would say that, but I think they think that America's power has waned, and why shouldn't they cash into the New World Order?
Oh, see,
which entrenches the elite power anyway, and they're the elite power.
I think that's
of
why
the world, according to Robert.
I think that's why we have to assume that it's intentional. See, that's what I feel like you just made the case that it is intentional, that they are intentionally weakening it, and that is the goal.
Perhaps. Okay. Good point. A good place to go to break. We're getting a high sign from Lord Benjamin. Folks, you are listening to Of the People, at least of these two people, Ericka and I. We're going to break. Right. We're going to make some money, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Robert Chernin.
And I'm Ericka Redic.
And we are Of the People. You can find us on Rumble. You can find me on Twitter at RBChernin.
And I am at Ericka Redic.
Look us up. You'll be entertained.
That we guarantee.
Absolutely. She's never wrong.
Ever. Just ask my husband.